Hey everybody, it's Megan with Therapy Insights, and I wanted to just create a super quick tutorial on a couple of tools that you might find useful if you are one of the many brave clinicians diving into teletherapy right now. And there are so many options out there for platforms. There's so many different rules and regulations around teletherapy right now that are changing every day, mostly based on state and other local regulations. So I'm not going to go into any of that, since by the time I stop recording this, it'll probably change. But what I want to do is show you those tools that you can use to turn basically any digital PDF material you have into an interactive piece that you can use during your teletherapy sessions. And the way I'm going to do this is go through those tools and then provide some specific examples going through pediatric SLP therapy sessions, and then sessions focused more on like medical or adult-based SLP, and then also looking at some occupational therapy and some physical therapy ideas that you might use. So, trying to reach a lot of different people just by looking at a couple of simple tools. And rather than going through all of the different platforms, since there are so many, I just want to briefly go over how to make sure that you are able to share your digital content through sharing your screen. So whatever platform you're on, you want to be able to share your screen. And at least with Zoom, the way this works is you can select different windows that are open, but you want to select the desktop. And ideally, the ideal setup for this would be if you have two different screens. So you can see the video pops up here, and that's how you're going to see the other person in the meeting. So that's how you're going to see your client. If you don't see them, at least in Zoom, I know it's under More, and then you would click Show Video Panel. And again, you can resize this to make it bigger. But if you have two different screens, then what you can do is use one display to do all of your therapy work, and then you can have another display where you can see that person. So you just have a little bit more screen real estate to work with. So I would definitely recommend, if you do have access to another display, to set that up. Just be aware that one of the problems that I ran into is if you start the meeting and then you share your screen and then you plug in your display, what's going to happen is the software is only going to recognize the original resolution of your original screen. So like that's what happened here, and you can see this green box is what the other person was able to see when I was testing it out. So I just exited the screen sharing mode and then re-entered it. So as long as you're not entering screen sharing and then hooking up your other display, you should be good. Stop that. And the other tool that I would recommend to make the most out of the software that I'm going to be talking about is a Wacom Tablet. And this is a Wacom Intuos tablet. They're super easy to order online, and it allows you to basically write with a pen, and then it shows up on your screen. So I'm going to show you how that works, but that's basically how I'm making it look like my handwriting, because if I was trying to do that with a trackpad, it would not look very good. So I'm going to go ahead and close this. And the first tool that I want to look at is Sketchbook, and this is a free tool for Mac or PC, and you can install it at sketchbook.com, and I'll put a link on the page so you can access that pretty quickly. And the Sketchbook is good if you want just like a blank whiteboard that you can do a lot with, and you can import JPEG files, but you cannot import PDF files. So I have a different tool that I'm going to show you for PDFs, But this is a great place if you want to just start out with like a schedule, if you're working with kiddos especially. Maybe you want to write out what you're going to do that day. So first, we're going to read a book together. Second, we're going to take a break. Third, we're going to play a game together. Fourth, we're going to say goodbye. So again, I'm writing with the Wacom Tablet, and then as you're going through the session, maybe you're done with the book, you can come out or come back to this page and cross it off. And then once you're done with the break, you can cross that off, etc. There's also another way that you can set this up if you set it up as a flip book. You can start a new empty flip book. And I'm just shifting this screen over with my trackpad, and I'm zooming in and just moving it over so it's centered. So again, maybe this would be the schedule, and you would have different things written out here. And if you wanted to go to another page, you just click down here, and then you click up on the screen so it turns white. And this is a different page. And then you can toggle back and forth, and you can create as many pages as you need. So again, I'm just clicking down here and then clicking up in this space. So again, clicking down here and then clicking on the screen, and then you have this new space. And then you can go back to any of those pages. Because the problem with just having a blank page like this is you have a lot more space to work with, but there aren't different pages. And so if you want to start a new page, you either have to save that file and then reopen it, or don't save. So again, that was going to new file, new flipbook, new empty flipbook, and then writing on there, clicking down here to create a new frame, clicking up here once just to get that started, etc. The second tool that I want to talk about is called PDF Element by Wondershare. And again, this is a free piece of software, and the demo version is enough to do what you want to do. And it works for Mac or PC. And the reason we need a separate piece of software is because in Sketchbook, if we try to add an image and we're trying to add a PDF, it's going to be grayed out. So it can import JPEGs, but then the problem with this piece of software is that it's really hard to resize things. It's not the best to do that with. It's a little wonky. So you can do it, and you can import a JPEG file. So if you have some PDFs, you can convert them to JPEGs with a software like Preview or something like that, and then import them that way. Or if you just want a piece of software that's going to be able to draw, you can draw right on the PDF, then download PDF Element. And then let's just start going through some examples for pediatric speech therapy. So here's a board. I'm just going to show that, or close that. Here's a board where there's a whole bunch of different hidden objects that start with L. So again, I'm just using my fingers on my trackpad to get this to fit. There's also some buttons over here where you can fit to width or fit to height. And you can click on Markup, and then in this piece of software you want to select the pencil, and then you can select how heavy that line is and what the opacity is and the color. So if you were running a session where you were finding all of the hidden L words together, you could cross out the words as you find them. So llama, lollipop, lime, lemon, whatever that is, lobster. Okay. And I'm also going to include a link to some free game boards. So I'll show you what those look like here. So these are just really simple game boards that you can pull into that software. But remember, they have to be PDF formats in order to use them in PDF element. So I'm just going to open one of the PDF versions. And again, I just need to get it quickly resized. And there are some great little online tools for different things like spinners, so you can customize the spinner to say different things. And then you can click on it, or you can find like some virtual dice where they can roll the dice. And in here, you can again go back to text, or sorry, markup and the pencil, and you could have them choose whatever color they want to be, or maybe one that doesn't blend in so much, and then what color you're going to be. And you can move these pieces, and the way I'm going to do that is, like, let's say I'm the green piece and I roll a 4, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I can quickly erase. And then let's say if the yellow rolled a 5, I can grab that yellow 1, count it out with them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Quickly grab my erase marker tool and erase those marks, and then continue on throughout the game. If we look at someone who is doing like outpatient therapy, outpatient speech therapy with adults, I just want to show you some examples of what that could look like. So let's say you're working with somebody who has aphasia, and you're working on some word mapping. So this is the word mapping PDF, and I just pulled in the first page. So again, I can go to markup, I can grab my pencil, I can change the thickness to be more like a pen and make it black. And then if we're talking about shoes, and if we're talking about these shoes in particular, we can write the words with them. Okay. If we're working on something else, like maybe cognition, we can pull up a task like this, where we are asking them to find the different gift card balances and then calculating costs. So we can pull up or zoom in on the card, and then on their end they can call this number and they can put in the code and figure out how much is left on each of the gift cards. And then there's another page that you can pull up that has a bunch of questions about calculating how much cash they would need to pay for different things, and you can work on that worksheet together. If you're working on something like swallow exercises, oh, and actually this is a good a good opportunity to show how you can rotate something really quickly. So I'm going to click on image, and I'm going to click on the image, and I'm going to pay attention to these numbers over here, 612, so I'm going to rotate it, but the problem is that it then crops the artboard, so I'm just going to type in 612, and that'll put it back in the correct dimensions. And then again, we can fit to the height or fit to the width. So this is where, for an exercise where maybe you can't take a video of yourself laying down and showing them how to do this exercise, you can look at the instructions together, you can look at the visuals together, you can talk about the anatomy and physiology together and what your goals are for this exercise. And then I think, there's different videos you can find on YouTube that shows the exercise as well. And again, like at any point, if you're wanting this to be a little bit more interactive, you go to markup, grab that pencil, you can circle, and do that. So it's just a little bit more interactive than even having them print the PDF at home and look at it with you. And I think I had one more document here. So let's say you're working with someone who has a TBI and there's tons of stress going on right now in the world. So maybe you can spend a session together going through some strategies to manage stress and talking about how stress affects cognition. And you can go through each of these together, and again, you can mark up the ones that they have talked about being meaningful themselves, and then you can have a new goal of like addressing stress by using these strategies over the next couple weeks. Just to also look at how this might be used for occupational therapy. If you're working with somebody who's working on energy conservation strategies, again, this is something where you can go through a handout like this together, and you can draw on it, you can circle things on it, you can write new ideas on it, and just having an interactive discussion about what would work well for them. And another example might be like if you're just getting to know them, and maybe they're a new client that you're working with. Here's an adult interest checklist, so you're just trying to figure out like what do they do, what do they want to be able to do. So you can go through and complete these kinds of forms with them. Another example is if they have a caregiver with them at home, if they can join your session if possible, and there's different HIPAA laws to look into about that, but going over things like this of how you can stay active while at home and while quarantined. For physical therapy, let's say you're working with someone who has Parkinsons. Again, pulling up a handout where you're going through the different things that they can be doing at home and just having a really interactive conversation about, what do they have available, doing some problem solving with them about how they can do strength training and stretching and functional training and cardiopulmonary training at home, given what they have, and using this as a visual and just kind of a conversation starter. So again, to rotate this, I'm going to go to image, I'm going to click on it, I'm going to look at that number, 612, I'm going to click rotate, change it back to 612, have it fit the screen. So maybe you're working with someone who has hip arthritis. These are some great visuals that you can go through together. Again, something that's a little bit harder to do over video, but maybe they have somebody who can help them do this at home. But during your teletherapy session, you can walk through these exercises with them. Maybe you're working with somebody who has different types of headaches and they're trying to work with you on pain management. So one of the first things you want to do is figure out what type of headaches they're getting. So going through a document like this together and having them talk about the symptoms of their headaches, and again, maybe you could do some markup on this to mark things that are true for them until you get to a point where you see maybe which pattern fits them the best. So yeah, those are just two quick tools. Again, one is the Sketchbook. So this is most appropriate for writing or using it as a whiteboard, and I like the fact that it can hold lots of different boards at the same time, so you don't have to lose things and you can come back to different pages. I like that there's a lot of different room and you can play around with different brushes and colors and be a little bit more creative. I like the PDF element for the fact that it's really simple. It's pretty easy to pull up PDFs, and there's, a good enough amount of options as far as the pen and the different colors to make it fun and interactive. So that's it. I'm going to include the links on the page below this video, and then I'm also going to keep this page updated with other tools that people are sending me as they find them. I think the trick with teletherapy is that it's a matter of figuring out the technology, and it's a matter of figuring out what works for your client, and it's going to be different for everybody. So I think the more tools that we have in our pocket, the better we can be able to serve our patients, and that's what we're all about. So thank you guys, and thank you for all you're doing to serve people in this time.